The vast majority of women think they're looking for self-control, but they're not perfect. You may be familiar with one night, at 11:30 p.m., you're tired of talking, but you're forcing yourself to play from the couch, go for a run, or it'll be ugly today. The numbers on the jockey jump, your brain is not breathing and beating, but you're doing what you're eating today, a little more latte in the morning, a little more cake in the afternoon, a little less rice in the evening. You're saying, I'm going to be self-disciplined, I'm going to look good, a lot more white in the heart, and it's like, how do you look good? You're not gonna be ugly today. You're pulling up your clothes in front of the mirror, staring at a little bit of the leg, looking at a little line in the face, looking at that little piece of cake in the face, and a little bit less of it, and you're going to take a little less of it. You've got a lot of self-restraint stories on your own media platform and in short video, and you tell yourself, I'm not tormenting myself, I'm getting better. Strangely, the better you get, the less you stop resting, the more self-disciplined you are, the less you're allowed to let yourself down, tired, poor, the closer you are to being perfect in the eyes of others, the closer you are to being relaxed a day, the more you feel that you're going to fall apart, as if you're not going to starve yourself, force yourself, call yourself never better, in an increasingly harsh set of rules. Have you ever asked yourself, whether it's the number on the body weight that really makes you suffer, or if you're not used to the blade of a knife? Maybe you're looking for a better look outside, and you've never really thought about it. So there's only one final question that this video wants to ask you. When you say, I'm going to look better, I'm going to be more self-disciplined, you're going to go ahead with life, or you're going to sentence yourself for life, I'm not perfecting myself, if it's a little uncomfortable, a little hypocritical, and you're trying to turn off the video, and that's exactly what you're going to have to say, and then you're going to open up something deeper than you think. If we look deep down, you're going to find that self-discipline is going to look closer to life, and many times you're going to do something that you're not aware of. In psychology, this voice has many names: super me, inside critics, inside parents. Jung will say, that's the judgment, humiliation, conditional love you've experienced in your early years, a little bit of it in your heart. As a child, you may have heard the words, look who's fat and self-disciplined. You look like this, and if you don't notice again, it's over. You hear not just the advice but a very dangerous low-level message: you're not in love, you're in love, you're in love, you're in love, and you're in a position to be loved and seen. So you didn't learn how to be friends with the body, but you learned how to think of the body as a project that could be optimized, modified or modified. Faces are not faces, they're skin management progress strips. Waist is not waste, they're fat rate curves. Mirrors are mirrors, they're self-jurisdictional. Everything you do to the body, early sleep, fitness, skin protection, diet control, is on the surface, for health, to look good, but the depths are often in implementation of this hidden directive. You can't just exist, you have to look better, you have to live better. This brings with it a very counterintuitive result. The more self-discipline you take, the more difficult it is to really like yourself. Because your self-discipline is not based on the premise that, I deserve to be treated properly, but on the shame that, I am not worthy of it now. Each time you take a card, every time you sweat, every time you refuse a piece of cake, it's a little hammer that you lift for, not perfect yourself. You look forward to one day smashing into a qualified version, and finally say, well, now I am worth it. Nietzsche once said, man is the only animal that will be cruel to himself, and you're gonna take a whip from the side of your body, and you're gonna give yourself a little bit. In the internet age, there are countless, perfect bodies, in front of you at every second: pontoon, straight shoulder, peach ass, ant waist, girl sensitive skin, frozen face, standards one after another. You say, I know it's a filter, I know it's a map, but your brain is not affected because you know it's a lie. It will only write down a formula that is good looking, recognized and valuable. And the irony is that, even if you have reached a certain stage, you won't stop saying, it's hard to yourself. You'll only look up quickly, looking at the next higher, harder, more demanding standard. You think you're uplifting, actually, you're keeping yourself in a narrower cell. Junga will say that when you're chasing outside standards instead of facing your inner feelings, these depressed feelings will come back to you in a more distorted way. The more you want to control an uncertain life by controlling your diet, training your body, managing your skin, the more you find that things outside your control are getting out of control. You lose control of your body's anxiety. You lose control of your age. You lose control of your fear of getting old. You're out of control of your fear of being. Normally, when you're on the surface, you look in control of your body. In fact, the body is turning into the main battlefield where you punish yourself. And there is a deeper question that you may never think about. If one day the world doesn't judge you with the word, good looks, you know what you have. If one moment, you don't get driven by the word, good looks, and you know where you are going. The real thing is that the more you throw all your growing energy into the goal of, good looks, perfect, the less you have the energy to explore, who is the one who doesn't have the face, who doesn't have the size, who doesn't have the filter. That is, the most dangerous and what needs to be seen, when you're used to live in the way of punishment yourself. It's not just to consume your body, it's to secretly shape a life that is completely held by the standards of the outside world. When you think of beautifulness as a long-term punishment for yourself, the worst part is never on weight, but on things that you can't see, but are rewritten every day. The consequences of the first layer of oblivion are that your whole life's rating system has been quietly changed. You can feel your value with a lot of coordinates, your creativity at work, your sincerity in intimate relationships, your curiosity about the world when you're in a difficult relationship. But when beautiful is pushed onto the throne, your brain starts running a new program. Today's bad skin equals today's whole body equals today's whole body. These days are fat equals 2 pounds equals nothing in this time. The mirror looks back, and you can only be sure of yourself a little bit. You think you're just adjusting your appearance, in fact, that you're acquiescing in one thing, my life, basically what I look like. The second consequence is that your emotional system is trained to rely heavily on external feedback. Sending a picture, comments, praises, makes you feel like it's a good state of affairs. If nobody boasts about it, nobody cares about it, and even if you do something important today, you can't help it down, it's probably not that bad. The brain has an acknowledged bias, it's willing to look for evidence to prove your original belief. You believe in I'm not good enough, so you're particularly sensitive to other people's mind-blowing jokes, a little stay of eyes, a short look at your body, and then take 10 times these magnifications and kick your ass back. For a long time, you're not waiting for the world to tell you that you're beautiful, but you're waiting for the world to confirm that, you see, you're not good enough. The third set of consequences is that your body starts to pay for this belief. On the surface, all you do is healthy things, controlled diets, exercise, sleep early, and light diets. But, because the starting point is, punishment is not perfect for yourself, many behaviors can easily slip to the extreme. Once you eat a little more, you use double exercise to atone for sin. Once you are in a state of emergency, you remediate with violent diets. Once the work is under stress, you don't want to rest better, but you look at the mirror much more anxiously, so much pressure, so much older. Your body is in this kind of cold, hot, sore, and so tight, and it's hard to really feel safe. The fourth layer of consequences is that you and your other face-to-face connections are being cut off a little bit. It is hard for a man who has been correcting the body to ask himself, what do I really love? What is interesting to me if I don't talk about body size, face, age? How many times could you focus on a movie that you like, a book that you want to read for a long time, a conversation that really makes you grow, but you are being dragged away by mirrors, cameras, contrast maps, calculators? The fifth layer of consequences is your relationship with other women, and it's also quietly deformed. When you're so hard on yourself, it's hard not to look the same at others. You look at people's faces, backs, legs, dark comparisons, dark scores. On the one hand, you envy people who are naturally well off. On the other hand, you can hide your low self-esteem with a sense of, I am more self-restraint than you are. So, the relationship between a woman who could be supportive of one another and witness one another can easily slide into invisible competition and contrast. She can keep her child alive. She's so busy and she's so self-disciplined. How can I not? The more controlled you are by the narrative of the perfect body, the harder it is to truly bless another imperfect but comfortable woman. Because of her ease, she can magnify your violence against yourself. The sixth layer of consequences is that society as a whole is reaping the benefits of this collective punishment of its imperfections. The beauty industry, the gymnasium industry, the medical industry, the self-regulation industry. Countless content, products, courses are repeating one premise to you: you are not going to be able to do it now, and you need to try a little more, buy a little, fix a little more. Capital doesn't care if you're not really getting better, it just needs you to feel not enough forever, so you can continue to consume, worry, and refresh. You think you're trying to be better yourself, actually giving blood to the system, using your time, money, attention, to feed a monster that you will never be able to say enough. One of the most subtle and cruel consequences is that you'll take all of this as normal. You'll say, women care about appearances. It's normal. You'll say, doesn't hurt yourself. You'll even start laughing at people who don't go up there, who don't care about their body, who think they're not going up there, and who doesn't ask a more fundamental question, who first tells you that it's a crime, and who first makes you believe that you need to be punished before you are entitled to get better. When punishment becomes daily, self-loathing is wrapped in self-regulation, it is hard for people to distinguish, am I caring for my body, or simply continuing the sentence of, you are not worthy of it now, in a more sophisticated way. If you don't wake up and if you don't turn this invisible script out of unconsciousness, your life trajectory is almost predictable. At every age, you will change a new set of self-judgmental standards, from teenage girls, to freezing age, to elegant old age. You will spend the rest of your life spinning around how to make yourself look less bad, with little strength, in addition to being seen in a good-looking part of my life. What kind of self do I want to do with my life? The real danger is not how thin you are now, how fat you are, how white you are, how dark you are. Do you realize that you're using some other person's criteria to quietly determine the meaning of your life? The next step is to get out of this logic of punishment for your imperfection, and not to give up your beauty and self-discipline immediately, but to start asking a more courageous question. Is there any way that I can get better and stop thinking of myself as a guilty person? To get out of this cage, you don't need to get worse first, but you need to be more honest. Admit honestly, I've been calling myself self-discipline all these years, for a lot of times. There's a saying in Wing that you may have heard many times: the most terrible thing is to admit yourself completely. Most people think that terrible means some kind of collapse, depravity, but the real horror is that once you have accepted yourself as unperfect and worthy of living, imperfect and loved, you will no longer be able to maintain a false sense of security in the form of self-punishment. You have to learn, in a completely different way, to live with yourself, my body, and better. So, the real rebellion, not, I don't care anymore about appearances anymore, but, starting today, to rewrite it lightly, from, I don't deserve it now, so I want to be perfect, to, I deserve it, so I choose to take care of myself. Sounds like a few words, living two completely different lives. First step, undoing self-discipline and self-maltreatment. From today on, give yourself a simple inner detector. Every time you're ready to do something that looks self-restraint, eat less, train more for 1 hour, keep up the skin, force yourself to do another plan, stop 10 seconds, ask yourself a question: if I do it because I care about this body, will I do it in the same way and with the same tone and with the same tone? If your answer is I won't take it too hard, you already know, it's not self-restraint, it's self-harm. The starting point of self-regulation is that I deserve to be treated well, so I want to give myself a better choice. The starting point of self-restraint is that I don't deserve this right now, so I'm going to fix myself hard. Every time you look in the mirror, weigh, and plan, you just ask this question first. You start a little bit out of the automatic mode. Step 2. Change the goal from elimination of defects to enhancement of the sense of life. Many of your goals now are negative. Don't be fat, don't be old, don't be sad. So all your efforts revolve around elimination of what? Elimination of the meat, wrinkled, and vice. The question is, the more retarded the brain is, the more you look at what, the more you are. Try to change the objective. Not, I'm going to lose weight, but I want to give myself the energy to do what I like. Not, I want to be small, but I want to make myself look better and more alive. Not, I want the skin to look like a filter, but I want the body to get back to real rhythm and elasticity. When your goal is to move from make others look happy to make me live strong, you find you do the same things: exercise, sleep early, adjust your diet, but you feel completely different. Every step before, you ask, is that good enough? And you start to ask, is that how I live? Step 3. Practice a brand new mirror ritual. Now you stand in front of the mirror and almost do two things: look for flaws and judge if you deserve to be liked. Starting today, give yourself a new mirror ritual, not for long, 1 minute a day. Stand in front of the mirror, and take 3 deep breaths. 2. Look at the part you don't like the most: the belly, the legs, the placard, the black eye. 3. Say to it in your heart, thank you for living with me today. I'm sorry, I'm always hitting you with standards. From now on, let's try to be friends. You don't have to believe that word immediately. You just have to look at her every day, like a little bit more. Step 4. Allowing yourself to occasionally, deliberately imperfect, once. Any cage, to break, requires an experience of violation of the rules. Picking a little thing in your heart that is very not allowed to relax, and doing a slight opposite. You usually eat with extreme rigor, this time deliberately allowing yourself to eat carefully what you like, and then deliberately not atone for it by multiplying the movement. Your face is always filtered, and this time you send yourself a picture that's not fixed so hard, and you practice "I'm like this" for 5 minutes in front of you. You usually have to exercise every day, this time on an extremely tired day, and you choose to say, "I'm not failing, I'm protecting the body." It looks small, but behind it is a huge thing. You tell your nervous system that, even if it's not perfect, I can be allowed to exist, not punished immediately. Every time you succeed in this experience of deliberate imperfection but not self-retaliation, you weaken that hidden directive, I should be punished as long as I let go. Step 5. Look for an example of conciliating with the body, rather than just a model of perfect body. Most of your examples now are waist size, legs length, small face, good skin, perfect line. Try to add an example type to yourself. You can see that she is old, changing, and defective, but there is a certain, quiet, comfortable beauty in the body. She may be a person who doesn't eat on the face, an old lady with a bright eye with a silver hair, or someone close to you who is honest with herself and who no longer cares only for the beauty of others. Ask yourself, if I live like her, if I don't have the perfect figure, I don't want to. When you start to appreciate this state of perfect but beautiful as a whole, your brain will have one more option. I could be on an unexpected watch at the same time and I care about the soul. I can take care of the body while I take care of the body, and I can no longer think of the body as the only chip. The true rebellion is not to throw away all the makeup, cut off the gymnasium card, but from then on, every beautiful thing you do is to respect, not to judge. You will find that, when the starting point is changed, the process and the end are to change. The mirror is not just a platform, but more like a window for you and yourself. And the window will finally show you what the final truth is, and that's the last part of us to open it. When you stop using punishment to push yourself, what you can do to achieve a better you. If you look at everything we've said together, you'll find something that's a little subversive, but that makes sense. You're not supposed to be a trial for yourself, it could have been a journey to reconnect with life. What really needs to be reversed, not the number on the weight, but the default that lies deep in your heart, I'm not good enough, so I'm perfect. Once that is unchallenged, all your efforts, no matter how much health or self-discipline, end up in the same end. You're a little thinner or you're a little less clean, you're a better skin, or you're gonna stare at that pox. You're a little harder, you're a little more self-disciplined, and the look on your eyes in front of the mirror is always faster than all the results. So, the true ultimate realization is not that you're how to become the envy of all, but that you're not supposed to treat yourself in the same way as the guilty person. Kierkegaard said, life is not a problem that needs to be solved, but a reality that needs to be experienced. In you, it's, your body is not a project that has to be repaired to 100 cents, it's a vehicle that you come to the world and experience everything. When you look at it with problems, you just want to eliminate it. When you look at it with carriers, you start to ask, I want to use this body, and I want to go through life with it. And you suddenly find that what you call self-discipline can have a completely different meaning. It's not "I hate who I am now, so I'm going to change you," and I'm going to say, "I know you're tired, and I'm willing to help you live a little easier." At this point, early sleep is no longer driven by fear, "I'll get ugly again," but "let me be strong tomorrow to do what I want." Sport is not driven by anxiety, "no more fat," no one wants. It is, "I want to feel the freshness of my muscles and heart beating back." Skin protection, no more eating, no more than, "I want to fight time, but I want to be there in a comfortable and dignified manner for a limited period of time." When you get here, you're going to see a cruel but unsettled truth. What you're really capable of in your life is never what other people think of you, but what you're going to do about yourself. You can go on with that old logic, treat yourself hard for a little bit of a sense of security, and then find out that you're not good enough, and a little harder. You can also try, starting today, to shift the source of power to one place, not from self-hating, but from "I deserve a better experience" to a new kind of seriousness and tenderness. When you do this, one thing will happen quietly. You start to be less hostile to the person in the mirror and more curious. You start to allow yourself to have a bad day without immediately declaring "I'm done." You start to focus on "I look like I've met the standards," and move a little bit to "Do I live more today than I am myself?" Speaking of which, the question goes back to you. What is your deepest fear in the matter of beautiful looks? What extremes have you used to force yourself to change? Which steps have you done, but you find that you have never changed the kind of comfort you expect? I would like to invite you to write something carefully in the comment area. It could be a very short phrase, "I realize that I am really punishing myself." It could be a story of your years and physical struggles. It could be a story of all the methods you have tried, dieting, thinning, bulging, excessive fitness, and the consequences of them. It could be a small decision that you would like to make for yourself today. "I sleep early tonight, not to look better, to stop wasting myself." You write it not for anyone, but to leave a piece of evidence for yourself. At this point in time, you start to doubt the script, "I want to be perfect for living." If you see it here and are willing to go further, then I want you to remember the last sentence. True high self-discipline, not a killer who suffers from defects, but a man who takes his life seriously. From now on, may all your commitment to betterness cease to be at the expense of your hatred. May you finally learn, on your way to a better place, not to think of yourself as a person who will always be punished. If you want to, let us start with this video and practice new ways to look at it, not to become a standard answer, but to be the one who yourself is willing to look at 2 eyes and be gentle enough to spend the rest of your life.